Jim, given our European exploits, injuries and the occasion for the hosts, do you feel that's a decent point to start the season?
Listen, we're always disappointed when we don't win games of football. I think over the whole piece, when we analyse the game back, I think a draw was probably a fair outcome for both teams. But I mean, look, given the situation, the lack of recovery time, obviously from the game on Thursday night, the amount of injuries that we've got, I hate talking about that at this stage of the season. I find it really difficult to comprehend that we find ourselves in this situation with 7 or 8 key players missing, and one or two of those look like they might be long term, which is a concern. But look, we asked a lot of the group that we had available to us today. We've had to change the shape given the personnel that we had available to us. The likes of Carestes and Sevelj are playing out of position, but they understand the reasoning behind that. And look, a point more often than not away from home in the Premiership is a good result, but the fact that we got our noses in front in the second half and then to concede so soon after that is the real disappointment for us. I felt we had enough bodies back there to deal with that situation. Someone's got to take control and take command and get a clearance on it. Okay, Falkirk get a little bit of luck and a little bit of a break of the ball with the deflection, but as I said, I can't argue too much with the result. I thought Falkirk deserved a point from the game.
Do you feel we used the ball a wee bit better than we have done in recent weeks? I think that midfield trio, Kamara, Sibbald and Papo did really well at times.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the three of them were excellent. I think the game was, if from a neutral perspective, if you're sitting at home watching on the telly, you'd probably look at it and think it's quite entertaining. It was quite end to end. Both teams had chances. Both teams, trying to win the game. There was an awful lot of counter-attacks within it. I did think we looked a little bit better on the ball. That's going to take time. We really are a work in progress at the moment, but I thought those three in the middle of the park were excellent. Sibbald does brilliant for the first goal. Kamara never stopped running all afternoon. And we scored a couple of decent goals. A great finish from Max Waters. And Ivan gets his goal for his persistence, just keeping going. He's going to be a really key player for us, Ivan, but it's just going to take a little bit of time for him to get up to speed, get up the pace of the game, but he has got real quality, and hopefully that goal there today will give him a bit of confidence.
You mentioned counter-attacks there. Is there a slight frustration that we didn't manage to capitalise on any of the breaks that we managed to carve out at the end of the game? Yeah,
definitely, but look, I think the players were running on empty towards the end of the game. This group of players are going to have to recover really quickly in time for Thursday evening. But yeah, I mean, look, obviously we would have wanted to go and win the game. I thought we got into some really good, dangerous areas in the second half. But on the balance of play, I think the draw is fair, and we just have to accept that.
Bit of a bittersweet afternoon for Max Waters, hoping to score in with a cracking strike, and then unfortunately succumbs to that injury that he picked up at the Una Strassen game. Is there any update on that as of yet?
Yeah, no, Max isn't injured. It was always the plan to try and just get as many minutes out of him as possible. I had a good conversation with him at half time. He felt he had another 15 or 20 minutes left in the legs. The issue with Max is since he's came to the group, he hasn't really trained a great deal. Obviously picked up the bang on the knee in the home game against Strassen. Quick turnaround for the away leg, but he didn't train a great deal prior to that. And then the last couple of days, obviously, we've just been trying to nurse him through the sessions to make sure he's available for today. He's going to be another one who's a big player for us. He'll score goals in this league, I've got no doubt about that. We need to just get him fitter, we need to get him sharper. But I think, when you consider where we've come in the last couple of years, the challenges that we face right now regarding balancing out the domestic game time with the European stuff, I think it's a credit to everybody involved behind the scenes at the club, the backroom team and the players who were with us last year to put us in this position. A couple of years ago on this weekend we were preparing for a game against Arbroath in the Championship. Today we're disappointed to only take a point away in the league, and we've now got to go and prepare for a European tie against Rapid Vienna. So we've come a long way in a really short period of time.
Just on that tie on Thursday, will it be a bit more of a pragmatic approach given the calibre of the opposition than the one that we used against Una Strassen, trying to go for it?
Well, look, Rapid Vienna are a really decent European team. I think they got as far as the quarterfinals in this competition last year. have got a huge turnover financially. They've spent a lot of money this summer on transfers. I think they've spent 4 or 5 million. So we're expecting a really, really difficult fixture, but it's exciting. It's exciting for the supporters as well, who travelled in unbelievable numbers last week to Luxembourg. We're expecting similar again, this week in Vienna. The players will give everything for the jersey. Of course, it's going to be a difficult evening, but we have to go there with belief and with confidence that we can go and get a result and take it back to Tannadice and hopefully still be in the tie.